Welcome back, everybody, to Cwpan Cymru. We've had our nice little break. The players have had their lunch, and now we're getting into the lower bracket final. Are you excited for this one, Nua?
Very excited. I mean, listen, you say the players have had their lunch, but they're all gamers, so it's probably a can of Monster and a packet of crisps, and off they go for the next 2 hours. We'll see how they get on with that. I'm looking forward to it. We are, as you say, heading to the lower bracket final, and it is a complete rematch of our first semi-final, our second one of the semi-finals, I think. Is that correct?
Yeah, second semi-final, yes.
Second semi-final, yeah, which is exciting. So it's Bruce, Louis, Derp, and Ieupad, which, yeah, I mean, based on how that semi-final went, based on how, we've kind of seen Ieupad and Bruce driving in the lower bracket then as well, this could get dramatic. I mean, we could be seeing the drop from upper bracket finals to the lower bracket final straight on out.
And the way that Derp performed in the lower brackets semi was very impressive. I mean, lost a few points at the end there, but it was at 62 points for about, as I think I said at the time, felt like 6 months. And considering how well Derp was performing in the first upper bracket, in the upper bracket semi, if it continues on that, there could be an upset here. That's what I'll say.
Yep, could well be, as Bruce has just stopped on track there. It's just slowly sliding sideways. Is he going to hit the other block? Is he going to hit the other block? Oh, he's dodged it by centimeters. Beautiful. Look at this. Ideal. This is what peak Trackmania looks like.
That's a great line. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to seeing how this one goes. I can confirm that Louis is once again back in his corner. Crows and Babs there to distract him as well as they warm up. Both of them already qualified for the grand finals. Crows has gone for a quick break somewhere, but I've no doubt he'll be back to annoy Louis at some point during the match. And then, of course, we do have all of the other players hanging out in a corner that seems to have gotten darker since we... Oh, no, there we go. It's just the screens getting darker as well. When the screens are not brightly lit, you can't see anything.
This is a proper gaming corner. Lights off, burning your eyesight. This is what we better see. Some better, higher quality gaming here. That's what I'm expecting now that the lights are darker.
Exactly. It's going to be fun to see. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any predictions then? Speaking of high quality gaming for this lower bracket final at this point, because I mean, I'm saying I think we could see an upset. I don't know if I've convinced myself of that though.
So I think we didn't get to see it, but I think in the upper bracket final, both Ieupad and ComradeLouis both got to last chance. I think we heard that Ieupad got to last chance first, but held on for a really long time, and then Louis was the first out. But The thing is, it was very close between them and the top two in a Crows and Babs.
Yeah.
So it looks like they've sort of turned it on, but I do think it will be them 1 and 2. I don't know in which order, but I think it'll be close to Derp. I think maybe there'll be last chances for 2 out of those 3. I think we'll get to a really close one. I think Belabruce, unless they perform really well, will have a bit of a tough ask in this match.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult, no doubt about that. But, I mean, look, we've seen some really good maps. We've seen some really good rounds from Bruce as well. So, with that said, maybe a dark horse, but not out of the running for sure. And we'll see, because we are underway, starting things off on Handau, on the Cwpan Cymru lower bracket finals. All 4 of these players looking for a spot in the grand final as well. A chance to take down Crows and Babs, who both have looked definitely beatable today, I think it is fair to say.
Yep, mistake there from Louis coming in. That's the first mistake that we've seen, and the Ieupad is now a lead, a 0.2 ahead. But Bruce and Derp are still in this. A bit of a slower ice section there from Derp, letting Bruce through, but a nicer release. Oh, just almost clipped there. It was so close, but it's dead even for second. Derp is slightly ahead, but Bruce gets the more speed coming out of it. Louis is out at the back now, and going into the end, it's the Ieupad out in front.
Yeah, Derp and Bruce are close together. That'll be Bruce dropping back not as far as Louis, but it should be Derp's round to lose, at least in terms of the second place for the moment. Won't do it. We've seen incidents at the finish. We won't see any this time around, as Ieupad starts things off right. A win in round 1 of this lower bracket final. And Louis with a kind of distant last place, but I don't think it's a last place you read too much into, right? It was just an early mistake and then didn't actually drift that far behind. Didn't compound the error by making more.
No, and I think that looked like quite a good round. That felt, I know there was a mistake. Speaking of a mistake, who was that? That was Bruce out back. We've actually seen that a few times on this map. Yeah. A poor start from Bruce, and it seems to be creeping into this match, which is not what Bruce will want to see. But I think it looked a lot more confident in that first round than what we saw in the original semi-finals. It looks like they've all warmed up a bit, and we should be seeing a close match throughout the rest of this.
Yeah, a little bit of touch there. Both Derp and Louis bounce off the back, but it is still a close round. Even after all of that, it does mean that Bruce is right back on Derp's back wheels as well. Bug slide to go. All of them getting it pretty cleanly, but Bruce just gets cleanly past Derp as well on the way through that one. Up at the front, it is going to be Louis chasing down Ieupad, but it's the battle at the back that is close at the moment. Good speed for Bruce on the exit. Might even have enough speed to challenge Louis at the finish line. Still a little bit too far back, I think. We've seen issues with Bruce on this finish before. We'll see them again. He gets up onto that platform so early, Yata, and it actually just costs him speed, it feels like, every time.
It felt like the line was wrong there from Bruce. It felt like he was taking it too wide, and it meant that he had to cut in very early, but it's so wide on the finish. And I think, as you've said, it's been a couple of rounds now where Bruce has been overtaken on the line. And once it cost him 2 places, I remember, quite famously in the lower bracket.
Yep. Sorry, mistakes from both Ieupad and Bruce at the start line just there. And, well, I mean, I guess Bruce will have a chance to experiment at the finish this time around. He may have to try and do something to salvage 3rd place in front of Ieupad, although that's very solid through the middle of the track. And, of course, there is still plenty of chances for both of the cars up front to make mistakes. Bruce is going to be very wide. That's a full respawn. Louis just wasn't making it and decided he wanted nothing to do with his exit from there. So Ieupad catches up with Derp after a very clean ice slide. Bruce drops a little ways back from the two of them as well. And it'll be all to play for at the finish line for Ieupad and Derp in this round.
And I thought when Ieupad made that mistake at the start, there was no chance of having a perfect map, but it looks close at this point. I think Derp still has the speed, unless there's a big mistake here, which it doesn't look like there is. It's a tight line, and it should be enough to make the finish. So that's a win for Derp. That's actually, I think, quite needed. I think Ieupad was taking a little bit of a convincing lead here. And in the fight for 2nd place, I think that's made a 13-point gap now from 2nd to 3rd, which is definitely what Derp wants to see.
Yeah, kind of getting towards the end of map 1 here, and it feels like, you know, we've had close rounds, we've had tight rounds to the finish line most of the time. Haven't really had a chance to breathe and sit on those scores and look at them, but it is tied between Louis and Bruce on 76. Now Ieupad, as you say, really has built out that lead over the course of 3 rounds already. One more good round on Landau then would really put Ieupad in a great position going into the rest of this match, into the rest of the map pack, and looks like he might get that good round as Bruce and Derp both slow on that ice. You can see Bruce taking interesting lines, trying to catch back up, trying to salvage something. It's just not quite working out at the moment. Louis sits in front then, Ieupad in 2nd, with it all still to play for at the finish, in the sense that you really can't afford to play your way into any mistakes.
And it looks a little bit processional at this point. Who's going to take more speed out of the Derp? It looks like Derp does, actually. It's very close now to Ieupad. Might have just left a little bit too much to do at the end here, and it does look like that's the case. It wasn't the best line there at the end from Derp. Needed to go more inside, and Ieupad, I think, took the inside in such a way that it would have been difficult anyway. But what I've been a little bit surprised by in this match so far is how many mistakes there were on the ice. That hasn't seemed like the most difficult section. You can't slide out, so you should try and take that as inside as you possibly can. There's been a lot of touches on the exit, which has been really reducing speed.
Has anyone told the players that you can't slide out? Is maybe the question, you know? I mean, that's, hey, great knowledge, you know, that when you are on the no grip plus ice combo, you can't slide out. But it's muscle memory as well, right? You know, you go into an ice turn, you're so ingrained that knowledge that if you take this wrong, you could slide out. Because you're right, they've been taking very wide lines that kind of leave them at risk of that outside wall. It's the kind of line you would be taking if you were afraid of sliding out, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that they're trying to do it for speed, because if you do go too inside, you don't get as much speed, because you can ice speed slide on the exit of a lot of things like that. And it's possible that they're trying to get a nicer to the onto the road, because I saw that Babs was doing the same thing. He was just getting it correctly every time, which meant that he was taking it. And Gareth actually as well was doing it quite well.
Very clean.
And it could be just a case of competitive players don't play ice, which is a stereotype, but a very accurate stereotype in my estimation. So
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, they're going to have to deal with it a bit more on this track as well, because we are getting ready to head on into the meaningless map, the map with really who knows what's going on with the name. It's the Ieupad anyway, and we are getting ready for our first round on that. Plastic and ice to deal with on this one. As you've said a couple of times already today, Yata, gears are the worry here. If you make any mistakes, you're in the mud, and Bruce is most definitely in the mud all the way back to the start on that one. And I mean, early respawn, not going to be making an impact on this round.
No, it almost looked like he'd forgotten the route, to be honest. He was so much wider than everyone else. That was a bad mistake. That wasn't just a small clip here or there. That was, I just went the wrong way almost on the map. And it will be very much out of this round and quite far down on points as a result. But Ieupad also made a mistake and is now quite a distant third from first and second. Derp is in second to Louis. Will he be able to take more speed onto this? It looks like it, but not really enough to challenge Louis in first. Was that clip from Louis? It was hard to tell. It looks like it was. There's more speed here for Derp, but just a little bit too much to do.
Yeah, close the gap.
First, second, third.
Exactly. Closed the gap, but just wasn't able to actually get the overtake done around that final corner. I mean, went from 3/10 to 2/10, which, hey, a tenth is nothing to sniff at in one corner at any point on any Trackmania track. But yeah, unfortunately, just not enough room left in the track to really take advantage of that extra speed. And so Louis takes another round win. And again, we're starting to kind of see separation on the scoreboard. Unfortunately, it's just one player drifting away from the rest on this occasion, and it is Bruce, down on 56, 20 points clear of anyone else out on track at the moment. But that is an early mistake from Ieupad, and this is what you were talking about, right? It may not look like the worst, but at this point, you start to worry about the transitions, about gears on the rest of this track. It does look like Ieupad will have survived, was able to get speed back up, and so not the most costly mistake we've seen on the Ieupad.
Yep, just manages to hold fourth. I'm watching as he goes around that. It was very close, but because he was able to hold it, he's managing to catch up to Derp here. A bit of a better drift, will be able to overtake. Yeah, Ieupad the quickest over the course of the time attack and the seeding last week. But even then, Derp has actually pushed back really well here. I thought it would have been all over. Although nasty clip there, that'll give Ieupad more speed. And it's close out front as well. Belabruce is really pushing this, but is going a little bit too wide, almost. Oh. And Ieupad managed to hold the ice slide through the top. It looks like everyone else is releasing when you get near that finish, just to make sure they don't hit the inside. But Ieupad took that line really well.
Yeah, that, like, it was, as you said, held the ice slide all the way across the finish line and out the end of the corner as well, and ended up a 100th behind Bruce then as a result. It looked like it was a big enough gap that Bruce had nothing to worry about, but he probably should have been sweating a little bit more than he probably was towards the end of the round just there. And it's important for Bruce finally getting a slightly more stable round. It was only a second place, but he has followed that up with another kind of slow start. Not a big mistake this time around, but has dropped down by a few tenths already.
Yep, and Derp was a little bit wide going into the plastic there. Managed to hold it, but it's close out front. Belabruce is a little bit behind, but the other three, it's anybody's race at the moment. Who's going to take the drift better? Oh. Not Ieupad, who makes a big mistake in clips and is now down into last place. Louis seems to have done the tech section just a little bit better, taking more speed into this engine off section. Will Derp be able to catch it? Will anyone clip the inside? No, they won't. And now going on to the ice, it's between Derp and Louis for first place. Derp seems to be taking it better. Will be able to hold on to the slide? No, quite. And Belabruce manages to hold on for third. So that's the first time I think we've seen Ieupad get a last place, to my knowledge, but also now is not even in first place anymore. And it's actually close for second again between Ieupad and Derp.
Yeah, we have been just given a pronunciation guide 3 matches in to trying to pronounce the name. Ieupad, apparently, which, hey, fair enough.
I'm pretty certain that's how I started, and I've converted it over the course.
Yeah, just straight up Ieupad, according to Thomas anyway. So that's what we're going to be sticking with from here on out, unless we forget, which I will anyway. But don't worry about it. Ieupad is having a great start of it this time around. Quick through the plastic, has overtaken Louis for first place. And Louis is having quietly a really solid map. I mean, he hasn't necessarily been building huge leads, but he has been first or second and never really at risk, it feels like, across the round so far on Ieupad. Yeah, one of those. There's too many weird names. Yata, I'm in bits.
Oh. Well, going into the end here, who's going to be in bits out of Louis and the Ieupad? That's a mistake from Derp, which is going to cost third place, but it's still dead even at the start here between Louis and Ieupad, who again gets a really nice drift. Louis did clip the inside of the finish, but it didn't look like it didn't look that risky. It looks
not
like
a big slowdown.
No, it was kind of, you can hold that because even if you clip it, you're still going to make it into the finish.
Yeah.
Because you're sliding to the side, so if the front of your car touches like the middle of the checkpoint, you're still going to like spin in. So it wasn't a big issue. It's just if you catch your front wheels or something, you might miss, and then you're in real trouble. But
yeah, exactly.
Calculated
Hello,
risk
spectators.
also.
Hello, Cwpan Cymru. We've got a lot of people in that room at the moment, and a lot of people watching some great Trackmania. It's going to be fun. Does everyone in this room assume that Acros is going to win the finals at this point? Can I get a thumbs up, thumbs down? Oh no, we're just getting a... we're getting a fuck Ieupad. I see how it is, yeah. At least, hey, the community's finally moving on from fuck OC, you know? Nature is healing.
Or evolving.
Or evolving. Oh, terrifying. Yeah, I hadn't considered the possibility that it's just growing. Well, we're getting ready then. We're going to be moving on to our mini RPG map for this one as well. Players are still absolutely locked in on this one. One more. Ieupad. That's different from what Thomas told me. So listen, blame Thomas. Thomas just told me Ieupad. Ieupad. All right, everyone point at Thomas. Everyone point and laugh at Thomas. He's a fool. He's a fool. Well, we're getting ready, Thomas. No time to continue. Yeah. Get his ass. We're getting ready to jump on in to go wild. Things are getting wild in the spectator venue as well for Cwpan Cymru, and we are on to the first round on Go Wild, our mini RPG map. Yatta, we had no time. We were too busy making fun of Thomas to actually talk about how this map is going to go, and the answer is poorly for Bruce off the start line.
I think it's much more important though to have a go at Thomas.
Yes, always.
But now that's done, we can focus. That was a mistake. It looked like a mistake there, Derp, but he managed to hold it, and he's got a little speed, but it's definitely not insignificant. Coming into the jump here, who will make it better? Ieupad. That's a
changing rotation map on map. Their name changes based on what map they're on. Actually, I think is what's happening at this point.
Let's just go with iPad. I know I'd say that.
It was a really clean jump, whatever their name is. Anyway, they are holding on to a lead, basically entirely off the back of that backflip in the middle of the track as well. But this is close at the back, in the middle between Louis and Derp. It'll come down to the beam. You feel like Derp with a slight advantage. Ieupad did clip just a little bit. Still got across the line in first, and Louis is held to third place. As meanwhile, Bruce is still out on track. He doesn't get the reactor, and he will still have time to make it as long as that was clean, and it was. Parks the car gently across the line, and it will be a fourth place for Bruce, who is continuing to struggle a little bit in this lower bracket final.
Yeah, I think this is not entirely unexpected. I think Bruce has got the pace. Bruce has shown some elements in the previous matches of being able to compete. I just think Bruce was a little bit less consistent, and I think that's really what's causing the issues here, both on the RP.
Oh, we've momentarily lost you there, Yatta, I think, vocally speaking. Anyway, I hope we haven't lost you overall, but it has been a little bit of a problem for Bruce. No, you're back. It's totally fine. Just a momentary drop out there. And I agree. I think the other thing as well, though, is we have to remember Bruce has made some pretty good last stands so far today as well. That won't help. Louis also crashing on that one, though. And so there is at least someone a little bit further back along with Bruce. But way out in front, it is Ieupad trying to chase down Derp. Again, we've seen issues on this checkpoint. Would both of them go the triangle? They will. Derp a little bit cleaner through, continuing to extend that gap, but you lose all your speed on this transition anyway. Nice jump from Derp. Ieupad carrying good speed down the hill as well, though. Both of them should have the speed for the reactor, and it just comes down to not making mistakes on this final beam. Then it was awkward from Derp. Set up way too far left, but did survive. Louis comes home for third, and Bruce another distant last place, unfortunately. If he is going to make this last second stand, kind of get down to low points and then manage to hold on for a little while, it does probably need to start happening soon.
Yes, and that was a big round for Derp, because Derp at the moment, if Derp's going to challenge for second place, needs a few more firsts. I think Ieupad and Louis have been relatively consistent and haven't really been losing those 10 points. So Derp needs to stop sort of bleeding points with these thirds and occasional fourths. And first and seconds will do him the world of good in staying in this match.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Bruce once again sitting in last at the moment, and does need to pick up something, does need to get past people, and is at least for once in position to try and do so. Very high on the jump though, so will drop a little bit of ground to everyone as they all got it just that little bit lower, and there's a full crash. Bruce going to have to take safe routes for the moment as well, so it's these three racing way out front, and Ieupad and Derp honestly looking the strongest of anyone on this map at the moment. Louis just not quite able to match the pace over the course of the entire track in these rounds, as both of them are really wide on the exit there. Plenty of speed for this jump. Derp is gaining up the front on Ieupad as well. It'll be close at the finish line. Still just enough speed for Ieupad, though. Louis does take third, and that finish, I mean, Ieupad, you'd have to say, saved by the reactor, right? The fact that both of you start accelerating at the same pace there, because it did look like Derp was able to carry a little bit more speed coming through that jump.
Yeah, and I think, I'm not sure if that was intentional from Derp to try and go through the reactor. Get it? Than the Ieupad. I don't know if that would make a difference, but I don't know if it was intentional. If it was, that was an interesting play. It didn't quite pay off, but it was close enough that, yeah, it really was going to come down to the line. But we're now onto the final map here final round here for Go Wild, and it's another mistake from Belabruce. It looks like Belabruce is going to be going into last chance. But up at the front here, it's the same running order time with Ieupad. Okay, it's getting into my head now. Derp and Louis in the top three.
Yeah, and do any of them fail? That was just a respawn mid-air from Ieupad. Saw the line, decided they didn't like it, and just respawned before we could even see what was really happening on that one. So they'll drop down into, I was going to say third into fourth place, but Bruce also apparently is respawned somewhere further down the track. So it is just this battle up front, and then we'll go back and see what they're doing at the back there. Something nasty, I've no doubt, especially with 11 seconds on them for the lead. Derp looking clean towards the finish here, just needs to hit this beam one more time. Should be safe. Lined up nicely. Louis gets through. Ieupad is still in front of Bruce, who's still a long way down the track. Enough speed for Ieupad to make it through. Just needs to hit the beam one more time, and Bruce will follow through.
Oh, it's close.
But has respawn. I mean, look, Bruce was going to last chance, whatever happened there. Unfortunately, has gone to last chance, and it's a last chance that is going to be a desperate stand, because they are a long way off anyone else. Stretch back in the chair from Belabruce at the moment. Just gotta get it done if you want to get it done. It's really, this is not, look, it's not a good position to be in, frankly.
No, it's not. But and I think we will be saying goodbye to Bruce. It's just a case of how much of a last stand can they put on in this map. Speaking of, we're moving now onto Pistithrader. I tried. I don't know how well I did.
Yeah.
But this is our first time on this map, this match. Going through the tournament so far, I think Ieupad has looked fairly good on this. I think Derp looked pretty good on all the maps in the last match. Louis, I think, was a little bit rough to start with, but at the end of the previous match was on fire. And it's really close for second place. There's 1 point in it between Louis and Derp. I think that last map for Derp especially was really impactful. I think there was maybe a 10, 15 point gap from second to third, and now it's been reduced to 1. So it'll be interesting to see if Derp can continue that momentum going on to Pistith.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a map that has shaken things up maybe more than it looks like it should, right? It's not necessarily the flashiest map in the pack. It doesn't have kind of the strongest kind of individual kind of turns or things that you're really looking at as making a difference. But for all of that, it has led to kind of big shakeups on the scoreboard kind of consistently today.
Yes, it has. And coming into the start of this map, Bruce is already slightly behind. It's off that ice turn. I think just went a little bit lower than everyone else and not taking much speed off the dirt either. So this is going to be really tough for Bruce to come back. There could be mistakes. There have been mistakes, and there probably will be mistakes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, one of them was by Bruce, which is really going to cause issues. Yep, very much.
Doesn't quite work out there. When you're the player already trailing, making more mistakes is the last thing you need. There's another big one. Derp's crashed up the track as well. Bruce, are you moving? Are you out on track? Are you alive? But has made another mistake and is still here. Wait, hang on. Derp is actually behind him. Wait. There's more speed from Derp, though, as Bruce is being overtaken around this corner. I bet he didn't expect that to happen. Briefly saw the number on his car change to 3, I think, but it won't be enough. In a comedy of errors, it is Derp across the line in third, and Bruce eliminated finally in fourth place on that round. Congratulations to Bruce. I mean, made a good fight of it today, but unfortunate to drop out at this point of the lower bracket final.
No, and that will be 6th place overall for Bruce, which is a good performance. And I think there were definitely some impressive performances throughout the competition, but unfortunately it was just a little bit too much of an ask against this lineup in the lower bracket. But there's been a little bit of a gap now. Louis had quite a good time in that last round and has taken a little bit of a lead into derp, and I think these three, in terms of pace, are very similar. It's hard to call between them.
Well, I mean, that'll help, right? In any given round, the first player to make a mistake, most likely to do poorly in the rest of that round, and it was Louis. Small touch there. Not a big touch, has only lost about half a second, which as far as touches go, is about as good as you can ask for in this game. And in fact, is still gaining on derp. Really good speed from Louis. So tight on that drift as well. Still gaining on derp, and just one good final turn might have done it, but derp held on, manages to take the second place. As the points repartition has now changed, Louis loses 9 points for that third place, and Ieupad, even up front, still loses the 2.
Yeah, and this is what's going to make it difficult for derp. It is only a 5-point difference, but because of the points repetition changing and the fact that there's no longer a 4th place to lose those 10 points, it means even if you do make a small mistake, if derp's the one who gets second, yes, you'll be gaining points, but not as much as if someone made a mistake and went down to -10. Yeah. So you need to be consistent as well as fast now. It sort of changes the landscape of this match.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely the closest match we've kind of seen on stream today in terms of when we got to 3 players left. All of them still with points to play with, points to burn, and all relatively close to each other as well. Now, if Ieupad can get a couple of good rounds, that does probably start to change quite quickly, and Ieupad is looking like they're about to get another good round here as well. As Louis will make the mistake, touches there, survived, was somehow very quick through that corner, but did end up slow out of it and didn't know where he was on the track. Lost in the sauce, full crashes, and it will be Ieupad taking first and derp taking second off the back of those mistakes from Louis, who will come home eventually to a 3rd place. But Ieupad really extending that lead out front now.
It almost feels to me like Louis is pushing too much. I think Louis looks like the fastest. I think Louis looks like he's the best through the tech section especially, and really has an advantage there. But seems like he's trying to take it too quick, because it's coming that last place rather than just keeping in that second. I think he's been in second going into the end section nearly every single round, and has just made a mistake normally on that reactor dirt flick, and it's really costing. It's just adding up round after round.
Yeah,
we'll have to see if it continues going into this.
I'll add 2 things to that, which is one, this is kind of what we were seeing from Across in the first match of the day, right? Like, kind of seemed like he had more pace than a lot of the rest of the lobby, was just over pushing it. But I'll also add that we saw Louis in one of those previous matches as well, kind of struggling early and kind of dropping down a little bit. But when it got down to crunch time, when it came down to players needing to get close rounds done, Louis was able to hold on in that match. And he's doing it in this round as well, overtaking derp through those final couple of corners. And there it is, the 2nd place for Louis. Pushing this time around does work for him.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I was talking about, because Louis was a little bit further behind, but it looked like it was a lot safer lines that was being taken, especially when it came to that dirt bug slide, because he was behind derp all the way up until the tech section, but the tech section just whizzed past him. It seemed like he had no issues there at that section of the map.
Yeah, no, exactly. It looked really good. And, well, that's our rotation done. So we do go back to the top now and cast your mind back to the start of this match. I mean, who was doing well on this track? And I think, unfortunately for everyone else, the answer was Ieupad, right? The Ieupad looked really solid on Landau last time around as well. So it feels unlikely to me, Yatta, that this battle between Louis and derp is going to change all that much, that they're going to manage to drag Ieupad back down into the mud with them at this point.
No, I think Ieupad has taken the form that they had in the bracket final, especially at the end after they got into chance, and has just kept it going. I think there's been a bit too many mistakes from Louis, and I have a feeling this isn't the map that's going to change that. We saw so many mistakes the first time round on the ice, and it just... Will we be able to keep it clean on the track? Will there be any mistakes at the end? Well, we'll have to see. Going into the last 3 seconds of warm-up, take us away, Nua.
Heading on then back to Landau by Wizzy. Thank you very much, Wizzy, and thank you to all the mappers who participated in building maps for this event as well. Events don't happen without them, but they also don't happen without players, and we do need them to get down to these last chance points, to get into these rounds where it is really starting to all be on the line if you want to make it to these grand finals for Cwpan Cymru 2025. You got to clutch up right now. And again, I think Louis done a really good job of that today. LAN experience coming in clutch for him in previous matches, where he was just able to stabilize towards the end of the match when it looked like he might be slipping away otherwise. might happen for him again here. He's very wide on the exit from the ice there, carries a lot of speed as a result as well, and so derp actually looked like he was catching, not able to catch up through that section as we enter the bug slide then for the first time in the end of this match. Positions stay the same. Everyone is comfortable on that by now. Ieupad out in front. Louis in a very comfortable second place. Might even be able to push for a first towards the end here as well. And if he does, I mean, that's a big point change as well. Just don't make the mistake. Don't crash on this one. No one will. And it's Ieupad from Louis from derp as we return to Landau.
Yeah, that looked a lot more comfortable, I think, from Louis especially. Derp did make a little bit of a mistake. I think going a little bit too inside on the ice, not taking the outside on the extension to transfer onto the road well enough. He had to release, which is where he lost all that speed to Louis. It'd be interesting to see if they can keep it up, because the problem I see here is they were so inconsistent on the ice. There was a lot of touches and clips. If they keep that up and are able to keep that speed, then I think it should be Ieupad and Louis 1-2. There's already been a small mistake from derp.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a difficult time to have that small mistake for derp as well. Sitting on 9 points, this would be enough if third place to send him down to last chance already. And Louis, having built up a relatively comfortable buffer from where it was, that won't help. Louis sent himself directly into a pole. So derp may survive last chance on this round. Just needs to not do anything really stupid on these last couple of corners. And Ieupad will take a happy first place out of this one as well, it looks like. Although derp would love that mistake to come through up front as well. I don't think it will, and it will be 1-2, Ieupad, derp, and Louis. Silly time to make a mistake, Yada. In the grand scheme of things, that is, I'm just saying that's not a mistake I'd be making when I'm looking to send someone to last chance, and I'm trying to preserve as much of my points as I can.
To be fair, Nua, it's not a mistake you'd be making because you wouldn't have made it that far. But
you know, you're not wrong.
But going into the last round, Louis came into that last round. We've seen a lot in this tournament of people ending up with 1 point and avoiding last chance. But Louis had the opposite. He was on 17, which is a really unfortunate amount, because that's 2 last places when there are 3 players left. Takes you into last chance, but mistake from Ieupad. We haven't said that very much today.
No.
But derp's made a bigger mistake.
Yeah,
and that's really bad for derp.
It's the ice. You called it in the previous round, Yada, right? The ice for derp and Louis in particular is going to be so important, and it's just looked less consistent for derp than either of the other players remaining in this match at the moment. It's cost him a couple of places this time around. I mean, look, he was going to last chance unless he could overtake Louis anyway, but it is just a little bit painful not to be able to at least push Louis into maybe trying to force that mistake into getting a couple more points off Louis in what is now going to be a very tight race for last chance.
The speed of Ieupad coming into the second half of that map was unbelievable. Like, Ieupad made a big mistake and was in last, then overtook derp because of a mistake, and then almost passed Louis on the line with the pushing. It was very impressive to see. But we're going now into the last round on Landau, and potentially the last round of derp's LAN. But
it's the last round of his career. This is it. He's done if it doesn't work out here.
I did nearly say that.
I could hear it in your voice, Yana. I'm sure he has a long career ahead of him, even if this doesn't work out. But derp is sitting in last place, is on last chance at the moment, and needs the mistake. But again, the ice just costs him. I mean, it's like eating your vegetables, right? You may not want to practice ice, but you gotta practice ice sometimes. And derp has not put the time into that particular corner. It feels like Ieupad has made a mistake. It's fine. Derp will see. The ice may not cost you today, but I promise it's waiting in your future. It's gonna come back and haunt you at some point.
And that is a real let-off hit from derp.
That's a clip. Iepad's too far back. He's too far back. There's no way. Derp still has the speed to get across the finish. It looked scary for a second, though.
Oh, I should not start talking around the finish.
I know.
Mistake.
Yeah.
But that is still a let-off for derp. I think derp, realistically, based on how Iepad's been performing, should be going out there. But an uncharacteristic mistake has sent this to, again, a second attempt at the last chance. And how did we're moving now on to Ieupad? We can see anything here.
Anything could happen. They could de-oif anywhere they want at this point. It's I will say, I mean, that the main thing that last round did for derp was it didn't actually change the face of the match all that much, right? Louis is still 1 second place away from last chance. Ieupad is still way out of reach, getting closer, but still pretty out of reach at the moment. Derp still needs to stay out of last place or it's done, but it did get them off Landau, and it got them off that goddamn ice turn that Derp was really struggling with on that last map. There's still ice on this map, but I do think Derp just surviving that one extra round gives them a chance to shake things up and really bring the fight to Louis on a new map.
I think Derp looks a lot more confident in this ice slide. I think one of the ice is if you're not fully confident when going for it, it's just so much slower. Yeah. It's one of these surfaces where, let's say you're doing a tech drift. If you take a little bit off the tech drift, obviously it matters, but you still get around the corner. You still take speed coming out of it. But with ice, if you start to release, it just compounds and compounds and compounds. And we were seeing that every single time. Derp was needing to release on the exit, and then was just Louis and Ieupad were flying away.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's going to be close, as you say. It did look a little bit more comfortable on this one. I guess we'll wait and see what the comfort levels are for Derp on the rest of the track, because you do have to survive everything else to even get your chance at that ice corner on this map. And Derp is starting to drop behind by a 10th or 2 already.
And coming out of the plastic here, there is a bit of a higher jump from Derp. Is he going to risk the tech section slightly? But it's not enough. I think at this stage, with a 0.3 gap coming into the ending off, there needs to be a mistake. Somebody sliding out or clipping the inside. No one does. Derp does have speed, but it's not going to be enough. Who will take the inside line here on the ice? Will there be a clip of the finish? It does not look like it. There was a slight one, but it wasn't enough. And that is GG. That was a fantastic performance from Derp. Wasn't quite the double last chance that was predicted, but I'd say it was close enough, right?
Yeah, it came very close to that double last chance. As you say, we didn't quite have it. And there was the small mistake from Ieupad right at the finish line, but Derp made an identical one behind anyway. It wouldn't have mattered. What a match, honestly. I mean, hey, great lower bracket finals, and that means we only have one match left today, Yatta. We are heading to a grand finals that I think is going to be incredibly exciting.
It will be, and I have to shout out as well, the whole tournament so far has been really good. I mean, the quality of the matches, how close they've all been. I'm not going to say I'm surprised, but as I said before, with tournaments like this, you normally get some matches where you're sitting there and think, this is over before.
Obviously, it is viewer discretion advised at any point when you're watching a Welsh LAN. Thomas could appear at any time from anywhere. We're going to go, I think, to a quick break. We will be back after that break with the grand finals of it. Yatta, any predictions for the final before we go to break?
Well, I see at the moment that there's people saying stream issues in chat.
It's fine. So they just need to refresh. They're being cowards.
Okay. Yes, a prediction. Do you know what? How brave do you want me to be? I need to know here. I think Babs is going to win.
Oh, I don't think that's that brave. Babs looked really good today. I think it's braver to say that Kroos is going to bounce back from the struggles and beat Babs.
I don't know. I think a Crows in a final is a different beast.
That's entirely fair.
And I don't think Babs has won a tournament of this sort of level, and the nerves getting there. I don't know. Maybe it's not super brave. If you want me to be super brave, I'd have to say Iepad's going to win.
Louis is clearly going to win. He's been sitting in the corner all afternoon by himself and having a match where he's finally sitting beside his opponents. They're done for.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll have to look him in the eyes. They should probably face the screen. They have to. They're all.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go throw to a quick break anyway. And when we come back, we will be here with the grand finals of Cwpan Cymru 2025. And we'll just spam refresh in the chat so that everybody sorts it out. It'll be good. Anyway, see you shortly.